don't you feel like a mad scientist whenever you're mixing roles and duties in the game, hoping to see something work, and sometimes these just, fall apart right in front of you? Well, we're going to kick off a new series where we take a look at some of these roles and duties, and we're starting with the halfback. I'm not promising that these shows are going to be short, because we're going to have to dive into these roles, and then we're going to have to take a look at how they contribute to some other roles in the game playing really well. The thing about Football Manager is that we can't think of one role in isolation. It's how they work with other roles. Sometimes some roles make other roles play even better. So that's the goal here. We're going to try the halfback role in various kinds of formations to see how it plays, the movements it generates. Of course, we're going to have to use it with a decent team. We can't use it with an average team because we want to see how it works in an ideal situation. So whenever you find yourself asking that question, I use the halfback with my team, then what you need to understand is what kind of attributes you need for their role and how he might play. Then when your team starts getting better, you start thinking about how you can improve the players around him, because we can't make a role work with every single team every single time. There are so many different permutations in the game of Football Manager, so we need to manage our expectations. For some of you who prefer the written word, of course, I've got a little guide called the Book of Roles. It's in the description of the video. Whenever Sports Interactive release a new game, there's going to be a change to the match engine. So people always wonder, how does this impact the roles? Have the roles started playing differently? Well, to be honest, the roles generally play almost the same way. So if you understand the way the roles are supposed to move, the attributes that they need, and how they might interact with other roles in the game, you're usually quite safe. That's why I've released a guide called the Book of Roles. It explains roles in a general way. It explains their movements, explains the key attributes that are required for each role. And of course, it's free and available to the community. So to understand how the halfback works, we need to use him with a good team. Why? Because if I use him with a bang average team, then you might not see the best out of each role. So generally, whenever I explain roles, I go to the best team I can get my hands on. Then I play the role, because then we can see how the role could perform in ideal situations if you've got the best kind of players. Does this mean that average teams can't use exotic roles? Of course not. We just need to understand what the role actually does. And the halfback is a very interesting role. So when we're looking at the halfback and you're trying to figure out what the role does, you start with several ways. First, you go to the play instructions. These generally tell you what the halfback is all about. There's a description that tells us that he's somewhere between a DM and a defender. The thing about this role is he drops deep when you have possession of the ball and forms a tree. So he will drop a bit deeper. When you have the ball, he comes in between these two central defenders, encouraging them to split a bit more so there's more space. And this in turn encourages these players to push slightly up, higher rather. So it's a great role for flank-based attacks. So whenever you're creating a kind of a system where you want to encourage the use of your flanks, the halfback can be a good role. Then what you need to do next is to find out what kind of attributes are needed for this role. So let's go to this player, go to training, have the halfback role selected, and you'll see all the attributes that are necessary. Now, one thing is important here. Anticipation, concentration are fantastic attributes for any defensive kind of a role. What's important, what you'll notice here is he's got passing as well. Now, passing for a halfback can be a very potent tool because these players are playing in such a deep position, they are frequently a phenomenal role for switching flank play. So if you've got a halfback here who likes to switch balls or dictates tempo, you've got a deep playmaker without that playmaker tag on him. So what I normally like to do when I have halfbacks is to make sure that these guys also have good range in passing. Now, whenever I'm playing a system like this, which is a bit on the very attacking flamboyant side, there's no central midfielders. This means that my halfback has to be very good, so that he can switch play when needed or help build up the attack. Here we have possession of the ball. We've just regained possession of the ball. Notice what the halfback is doing. The halfback comes deeper than the rest of the roles. He stays in between the three defenders as the goalkeeper recycles possession, and then he drops deeper during possession. The thing is here, in this particular sense, this halfback is helping us recycle possession. Our ball-playing defender is now here. Our inverted wingback is playing in this position. He will start to move inside, and plays it back to the goalkeeper. I like using the halfback because the halfback does some intelligent movements, but you also have to be very careful with player choice because this is the worst place to lose the ball. Again, here, the halfback has pushed out and is the first to react when we need to defend. Another player has pushed in. Here, our inverted wingback comes in. You can see how tight the defense is at the moment. They're all covering each other's positions. And as we build play up, the inverted wingback comes here. The halfback pushes into this position to help us as we transition down the right side of the pitch. Now here, what I've done is I'm actually using focus play down the right. So whenever I use focus play down the right, the central midfielders will always move to the side of the focus. So here, our Rodrigo, our halfback, is actually moved to the right. We play the ball forward. It doesn't turn into anything. Phil Foden brings the ball in and then takes a shot and scores a goal. Notice when we are attacking, the halfback isn't overly committed, right? But he will push as high as this position over here to support play if you're camping. Here we are when we are defending. My ball playing defender is actually gone to close down Danny Ings. Notice what the halfback does. He will cover the area and the space where we are weakest. He moves to the left, covers the area, then goes in to be a player that's trying to stop the cross from coming in. And we are able to then switch play from defense quickly into attack. The halfback is a very good role, but you need to be very careful when choosing the right kind of players for this role. This is another view during the build-up phase. My tactic here is simply focused on flank attacks. So we've got players switching over to the left flank. The halfback is moving slowly towards the left flank to support play. And as he moves into the center, he's making sure that he's in a very good position. Here, perhaps, we should get this player high up the pitch. And this is the other ball playing defender. We lose possession of the ball, but I think we should be able to apply pressure on the opposition so that they are forced into clearing the ball back. Yeah, we've done exactly that. The halfback is back helping us defend. Once again, the inverted wingback finds the winger. And the halfback, again, supporting play on the right now when we have the ball. So here, when I'm looking at the tactic, it's very simple. We've got an inverted wingback coming here, inverted wingback coming here. The whole idea behind the halfback is for him to be in a position to support play. Because I'm using focus play and the underlap, the widest player is always going to hold up the ball looking for inside run. That could come from the inverted wingback. And then the halfback is in these kind of central areas protecting us. We can develop a lot of flank-based attacks and get our strikers banging in lots of goals. Now, this is one of my more outlandish systems, but you can tell Rodri, who's playing as the halfback, he plays a big part in everything that's happening in the game. He combines well with the players on the right side and he combines well with the players on the left side. It's a central part of how I'm playing. But I'm using the halfback to get this done. Along with key passes, I'm also interested in progressive passes. I need to see that the halfback is making passes forward. Now, if you've got the right kind of player, you don't really need a deep lying playmaker anymore. If he's got great passing vision decisions, he acts like a playmaker. If he's got certain traits, he can switch ball to the other flank. And because we are playing such a top-heavy system, I'm expecting to score a lot of goals. I need to make sure that the halfback is linking up play very well. Frankly speaking, it's not that difficult to get players like Erling Haaland scoring loads of goals on Football Manager 23 if you set things up correctly. Okay, so now let's try using the halfback in different kinds of systems to see what happens with this role. So we're going to use this halfback in a bit of an unorthodox system. We're going to have the halfback here. We've got a ball playing defender here. We've got inverted wingback on defend on the left side of the pitch. And we've also got an inverted wingback on support. Halfback will drop deep during build-up phase. This inverted wingback is going to push up here. This volante is going to push forward. This inverted wingback is going to come and sit in this position, forming a very unique shape when we've got the ball. Why I like to use halfbacks, notice this setup. We've got a halfback and a volante here, a winger here. We've got the tree split nicely because we don't need too many players in defense. The winger comes in, we've got players attacking the lines. But what the halfback does is he helps us recycle possession. And if you've got a really good player, he finds the spaces. So here our halfback is actually attacking the space with a pass, allowing the winger to come in unchallenged on this side to deliver across. And again, he he positions himself. So we get this nice little triangle in defense. The use of the halfback can be solid, but you need to understand the movement, right, of that role. He doesn't always drop super deep. He will during certain phases in transition, but then with the right kind of player, you can get yourself high up the pitch and start controlling the opposition third. Here, yet another goal created by the halfback. He plays one through to our other striker who turns and then finishes another move. So notice how well we're positioned when we're attacking. We've got the 3 players protecting our lines. We've got a halfback here, a volante here. We've got these players attacking, keeping the defenders occupied. This combination, the halfback and the volante, is actually a very nice combination because the volante is actually a box-to-box midfielder, right? Starting from a deeper position. I mean, he plays like one actually. And if you've got the right kind of player here who's got good passing vision decisions, he can find and unlock defenses. And we are playing on a very attacking mentality. What you will typically find is now we've got 2 deep players who can unlock defenses. Here we go. The ball gets to our AMC. He plays it to the unmarked, unchallenged volante, and he's got a choice. Where does he play the ball to? He can attack the line. Our striker comes in to finish off the move. Here we've got a system that plays a bit differently. We've got a halfback, we've got 3 defenders, we've got 2 wingbacks. Now, the thing is, this is a pretty conservative group of players. Halfback, not very attacking, right? But he can play lots of passes from deeper positions. Got 2 wide centre backs. If I played them on defend duty, then we'd really have a very defensive group. So these guys are on support. They'll push up the pitch, help us recycle possession as we try and move it down the flanks. Of course, I've got a focus play left and right here. We got wing backs on attack. They are attacking. Their mentalities upped a bit more with the underlap instruction, which tells them to hold up the ball for inside runs. And then we've got a Mazzala who's going to shift into the right pocket here to support play from the wing back that's coming this way. And we've got another wing back attacking this way. And we've got 2 strikers, one who's literally going to stay more or less in the box. And the other role, he's going to drift into the channels because of the way the pressing forward works. And we're going to see how this halfback performs in this kind of a setup. Right, so we're going to play out of defense. I'm going to not tell him to distribute to the flanks anymore. We're going to distribute to centre backs, of which we have quite a few centre backs, don't we? All right, so we're going to play it out from the back and see how we build up play. The ball is kicked long, sweeper, keeper. He plays it out to the wing back. The wing back cuts inside. You can see these 3 rows that halfback is going to try and keep up. Alvarez to the Mazzala, the wing back. Is a very quick goal. We've got the guys in the center keeping a lock. This is what I wanted. We don't want roles that are too bally, right? They play the ball too much. So I'm not using ball playing defenders here. We've stuck with just using a simple wide centre back because the wide centre back, he does the simple things. We don't need him to bring the ball out of defense. So at this point, the Mazzala plays the perfect pass out to the wing back, and then we've got the poacher arriving to score the goal. A simple role because we know that we're going to use the flanks a lot to build up play. It makes us quite hard to defend against. Once again, now you can see where the halfback is. The halfback is in this position as we have to go back and defend. He comes in back. We get a kind of a fall for a short while. Then he protects this area as they attack the flank. We gather. As you know, we're doing the focus play left and right because we want a flank-based attack. Look at what the halfback is doing. Because he had a thought that we're going to go around the flanks. It doesn't make for a good option. The white centre-back plays it back to the other central defender. We recycle possession and then move it down the right side of the pitch. Halfback has to defend. He tracks. Right? He doesn't overcommit. He tracks nicely. The halfback is a great role even in systems like this. When you're using certain roles, you want to pay attention to certain team instructions. Like I'm using the team instruction, focus play left and right. I've got a halfback. The thing is, we've got a back 3. Now, in most cases, some people have got to come and tell you, don't use a halfback when you got a back 3 defense. I will disagree with that in a heartbeat. You can use any role in any system as long as you understand what it's going to do. Here, the halfback, we've got the defenders nicely placed. The halfback, will shift to the left because honestly, we don't need him patrolling the middle. We've got more than enough players doing that already. So because we've got the focus play left and the focus play right instruction, essentially we are a flank-based attack. The halfback helps us to keep the attack going on the left side of the pitch. When you're playing a halfback and you've only got two defenders, he drops into the center, right? But if you're playing a halfback and there are three defenders, that might sometimes see him dropping a bit deep, but you won't see him doing it, forcing the system to look a bit lopsided. The halfback is an interesting role. You can use him in a back three, a back four, when you only have two defenders, or even when you only have one defender. It works in any kind of situation. Now, typically, what most people recommend is to use him when there are only four playing at the back. This way, he splits the two defenders so they go a bit wider. But you don't need to. You just have to remember what the halfback brings to the role. If you're playing a back three system, you can probably play it off with a DMD and a halfback. There probably won't be too much difference between the two roles. But what I like about the halfback is his aggressive protection of the back area, right? The area in front of the back three, which makes it a very nice role if you want to launch other roles around him on attack duty. So what kind of attributes are important for their role? I mean, honestly speaking, the different players are going to play different roles differently based on the attributes that they have. So if I were to tell you defensive attributes are very important, and then you go and put in a defensively minded player, and then you ask me the question, how come he doesn't play those kind of passes that I saw your player do? That's because my player has got better passing than your player. That is what you need to remember. While we need to pay attention to the main attributes a role requires, we also need to understand our own players, the traits that they bring, because those attributes will influence and create those subtle little differences that exist between players in the game of Football Manager. I could turn this into a live stream series if you guys are keen. And then all we do is play with a halfback in different combinations. Let me know in the comments below how you want this to continue. Meanwhile, I want to thank everybody for the continued support of this channel. We make this kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. You guys, please stay safe. Take care of each other. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.